Aldo Leopold was born in Burlington, Iowa, the United States on January 11, 1887. He cultivated a strong interest in the outdoors at an early age. In 1900, thanks to a generous gift from Gifford Pinchot, who was the first chief of the U.S. Forest Service, Yale University began one of the nation's first forestry schools. Hearing of this exciting development, the 13-year-old Leopold decided on forestry as a career. After several years of preparations and serious studies, Leopold succeeded in entering Yale and graduated from the Yale Forestry School in 1909. Then, Leopold joined the U.S. Forest Service and was assigned to District 3 in the Arizona and New Mexico territories. Initially, he worked as a forest assistant at the Apache National Forest in the Arizona Territory for 2 years before being transferred to the Carson National Forest in northern New Mexico. Leopold's career took off from his 13 years in New Mexico, where he helped develop the first comprehensive management plan for the Grand Canyon and wrote the Forest Service's first game and fish handbook. Leopold was credited for proposing Gila Wilderness Area, the first national wilderness area in the U.S. Forest Service system. In 1924, Leopold accepted transfer to the U.S. Forest Products Laboratory in Madison, Wisconsin, and became an associate director. In 1933, Leopold was appointed professor of game management at the University of Wisconsin, the first such professorship of wildlife management in the U.S. Aldo Leopold died of heart attack on April 21, 1948, when helping his neighbor fighting a bushfire in Baraboo, Wisconsin. Leopold died at the prime of his professional career, but his legacy lived on to influence the conservation movement in the United States. Aldo Leopold was a pioneer in conservation, considered by many as the father of wildlife management and of the United States wilderness system. Leopold was a forester, conservationist, educator, writer, and philosopher. In 1935, the Leopold family bought a worn-out farm along the Wisconsin River. With the help of his wife and 5 children, Leopold built a shack. The family spent many weekends and holidays at the shack. Over the years, they planted thousands of trees, shrubs, and wildflowers on the barren property, restoring the landscape while exploring the outdoors. Their experiences at the shack taught Leopold family to live simply, happily, and responsibly. As the Leopold family transformed the land, it transformed them as well, learning from and building their love, respect, and deep connection to their special place. It is here where a new land ethic was born. Aldo Leopold Shack and Farm has been designated a National Historic Landmark, representing one of America's first ecological restorations. This property possesses national significance as the outdoor laboratory for Aldo Leopold's pioneering work from 1935 to 1948 in wildlife management and ecological restoration, and as the chief inspiration for Professor Leopold's seminal essays in the book A Sand County Almanac. One of Aldo Leopold's most significant contributions was his vision of a land ethic expressed in his classic book on conservation, namely A Sand County Almanac. Leopold understood that ethics direct individuals to cooperate with each other for mutual benefit. One of his philosophical achievements was the idea that this community should be enlarged to include elements such as soils, waters, plants, and animals, or collectively the land. In Leopold's words, that land is a community is the basic concept of ecology, but that land is to be loved and respected is an extension of ethics. Leopold went on to say, a land ethic reflects a conviction of individual responsibility for the health of the land. In Leopold's view, conservation is not merely a thing to be enshrined in outdoor museums, but a way of living on lands. It must ultimately prevail on all lands, public and private, or go down in history as a pleasant but futile pipe dream. One of Leopold's powerful quotes is, "The oldest task in human history is to live on a piece of land without spoiling it." Aldo Leopold is best known for his tremendously successful book, A Sand County Almanac, which has served as one of the cornerstones for modern conservation science, policy, and ethics. First published by Oxford University Press in 1949, 1 year after Leopold's death, it has become a classic in the field. A review in San Francisco Chronicle says, "We can place this book on the shelf that holds the writings of Henry David Thoreau and John Muir." Over 2 million copies of this conservation classic have been printed, and it has been translated into at least 14 languages, including Czech, Finnish, French, German, Italian, Japanese, Korean, Latvian, Mandarin, Polish, Portuguese, Russian, Spanish, and Turkish. A Sand County Almanac has inspired readers worldwide to consider the true connection between people and the natural world. Widely hailed as the father of wildlife management in the U.S., Aldo Leopold has been recognized as a pioneer in conservation, an ecologist who thinks like a mountain. A deep, chesty bawl echoes from rim rock to rim rock, rolls down the mountain, and fades into the far blackness of the night. It is an outburst of wild, defiant sorrow and of contempt for all the adversities of the world. So begins the famous essay, Thinking Like a Mountain, where Leopold thinks back to his exhilarating expeditions and haunting mistakes as a young forester, and makes the humble realization that his own actions were deplorable at one time. He tells of shooting a wolf and seeing the green fire go out in her eyes as she died. As he recalls that moment in the essay, Leopold admits his own views were too narrow and aspires to take on a more objective viewpoint, that of the mountain itself. Only the mountain has lived long enough to listen objectively to the howl of a wolf. In the coming weeks, on my YouTube channel, Words of Woods, I will be reading excerpts from Aldo Leopold's book, A Sand County Almanac. There are some who can live without wild things, and some who cannot. These essays are the delights and dilemmas of one who cannot. I invite you to enjoy the diverse landscapes along the Wisconsin River, the pine trees that Aldo Leopold has fell in love with, and the shack and farm that still stand as a living symbol of Professor Leopold's land ethic. Thank you for watching and listening. Please subscribe to this channel, Words of Woods.